Hello and welcome to Tea Time with Torloth. Today is a little ditty by Tino Games called NeoVerse. This is a deck building adventure that breaks the mold of most in the genre, physical or digital. The gameplay loop of NeoVerse is to embark on an adventure battling an assortment of baddies throughout time and acquiring tools along the way to improve your chosen champion, in a quest for temporal something. If there's a story, I'm sure it's riveting. Some MacGuffin cube fighting, it's Icarus, but a game. But the gameplay loop is amazing, so I love it. It's great. But let's explain how to play the game if you're new to the genre. Adventure mode sees your chosen champion with a starting deck of attack and defend cards, and 2 character cards. You choose a mission, and you're fighting. You have 5 energy to start with, and you use them to play cards. Unlike other deck builders, when you use a card in your hand, you refill that slot instantly from your draw pile, until you're out of draw pile. Your draw pile does not reshuffle until your next turn, or until you trigger an effect, like shuffle, which shuffles your deck. There's a lot more to it, and this is what takes it from a Slay the Spire clone to something special. This game has a lot of mechanics, and a lot of cards on their own are very underwhelming, but can be combined for massive devastation. The basic principle of deck building games is here, but with a few twists. That first twist is precision trigger and precision parry. This adds a level of risk reward that other games just don't give you. To perform either, you need the perfect amount of attack to dispatch an enemy, or the perfect amount of armor to defend an enemy attack. Precision trigger rewards you with bonus gold, whereas precision parry rewards you by stunning the enemy that attacked you. Then there is the combo system, adding another layer of depth. This is simple enough to perform. Playing colored cards in the correct order grants champion buff as the next attack deals double damage. This also has interactivity and lets the player choose whether it's better to ignore the combo or follow it for that devastating single blow. Whereas the aforementioned Slay the Spire has relics to buff the player, NeoVerse has random smattering of skills that can be purchased for skill points, which can be earned by either defeating monsters or buying them from the shop. This can lead to some interesting builds. Some are pretty basic, like extra health. Some can change the entire way you build your deck. One of my favorites is Last Chance, or Naya. It makes it that when you run out of mana, 1 card in your hand becomes 0 cost. The one-time use items you get range from insanely powerful to completely situational. Mission rewards from elite monsters drop the more powerful items or bosses. The store rarely gets anything better than a medkit or a grenade. Defeating bosses grants you trophies, and trophies can be used to buy equipment. These are permanent pieces of gear that are also cosmetic, but they buff the champion and are pretty good. But you cannot use them for that extra challenge. Hunter mode quickly became that cherry on top, that little extra that takes this from a competent deck builder to something more fantastic. This is a draft mode of sorts, and I know Slay the Spire has options for this, but hear me out. Where you start with Hunter attacks and Hunter defends. Hunter attacks do area effect damage instead of single target. That's the only difference between them. Then you pick one of a selection of cards. This happens 5 times before you start down the path of the Hunter mode. Upon completing encounters rewards you with a single item, a random amount of skill points. Every 5 encounters, you face a boss. After defeating it, you get to visit the Black Market, where you can purchase buffs, card evolutions, removals, healing, and other things to aid you. But the price of that increases each time you buy, so there's a little bit of risk reward there. The other thing about Hunter mode is that you don't get gold just for defeating an encounter. You get it for defeating enemies, and the enemies will have things like they're going to run away in this many turns, or there's like thief ones that steal gold, like all sorts of cool different ideas. This mode isn't 100% great. I think you could do a little more with it, but it's still my favorite mode in the game. And I always like doing draft runs and Slay the Spire anyway, and not having to go into a specific custom game to play draft mode is appreciated. However, custom modes with custom starting decks or random starting decks, or maybe no hunter attack cards. This game isn't perfect, so I do have a few issues with it. And one of them comes in the form of the tutorial. The tutorial is a video, and I see what you're going for, but it's not a great way to teach someone a card game. But it's also really awful to just put someone in and be like, this is how you do this. So I guess making it optional was good, but it also took me a lot longer to figure out when a quest was like, do a precision trigger. What's that? It tries to get you to do these things for rewards in the regular adventure mode. So maybe it's not 100% needed, maybe just a little blurb of text. And I also noticed that the playhead didn't move on the video. So the combat window, it's a little bit on the cluttered side, especially when you start getting a lot of skills. Yes, you can hide the skills, but the UI isn't great overall, and the menu system could use a little work to be just a tad less clunky. The tooltips can be a little unhelpful. I think there might be a bit of a translation issue here. Since this is a Korean developed game, and as someone who can speak and read Japanese and understands Asian sentence structure, it can be a bit of a challenge to translate something and make it still make sense. For instance, "Ocha nomimasu," I drink tea. Translating is more interpreting most of the time. That's some of the problems with localization. Some people decide it should be done this way, some people decide it should be that way. But that is a story for another time. Okay, so I thought the player access to the store at first, because you can access the store at any time, even during battle. I thought this reduced challenge. However, I realized when you started unlocking more and more stuff, and the way it works, it balances out a lot better. And you can think of the store as like a false lifeline, but since you had to pay to restock items, and restocks are random, it kind of can bone you. It's pretty interesting. Now, to be fair to NeoVerse, its system for buffing the player with skills tend to be much more passive, or they're just like a start of combat, do this. Their enemies tend to be, on the whole, more deadly. Like they have more health, do more damage, or there's more of them, and it takes longer to defeat them. So this is maybe not the quickest deck builder game, but I definitely appreciate it. I definitely enjoyed my time with it a lot. My last nitpick is that the music wasn't great, but I wasn't expecting much. I don't think it's bad, it's just it got repetitive and I just turned it off and did what I always do. Okay, wrapping up here. I had very low expectations for this game going in. Like, it was a choice on Humble Choice. I saw it as like, it's a deck building game, and I'm like, okay, I got the key anyway, like, what am I gonna do? Like, these other games don't interest me. It was weird to get XCOM and 40K strategy game in the same month, but okay. I had very low expectations going into this game, and provided nothing comes along to dethrone it, I think this could have a place on my Game of the Year list. Mind you, not the top of the list, but definitely somewhere in the middle. I did pick up this game on Humble Choice, so it is available on Humble Bundle for Steam. It sounds like, from doing a little bit of digging, they are working on console ports, and my brother is definitely interested in a Switch port. He uses his a lot more than mine. Kinda sits here on the desk until someone wants to play Splatoon. 2020 has been an interesting year for video games so far, and it continues to develop as we inch closer and closer to next generation consoles this season. Today's question of the day is, what's a game that someone either lent you, gave you, and you were like, well, it was free, might as well play it, and you were pleasantly surprised? That's it for me. You know where to find me, Twitter, comment section below, Mixer on Sunday. Did stream a bit of NeoVerse here, was having weird mic issues where it was picking up things across the room. I don't know how that happened, but it did. I seem to have fixed it. So hopefully this week will be better. Okay, this week, I don't know what I'm going to play on stream, but I'll figure out something. MechWarrior 5 came up on PC Game Pass. That could be interesting. Never played one of those. Always wanted to. But anyway, till next time. Matane!